If you're a parent and you're bringing your kid to work with you and you're working with a machine that's sharp, whether it's a meat slicer, a knife, or whatever you're working with that's super sharp, you got to make sure your kids don't distract you while you're doing something with the sharp object, because it can be dangerous and you can cut your finger off. It's just important to always make sure that if one of your coworkers who's on a break, when you bring your child to work with you, make sure that your child is distracted while you're at work, or you can just like bring them for part of the day and have the other parent pick them up if you have a significant other. So it's just better safe than sorry, and it's just always good to make sure when you bring your child to work to make sure they don't distract you while you're doing things like cutting like meat or whatever. So always keep that in mind. Before I start this video, I would like to apologize for kind of adjusting my camera. For some weird reason, it wasn't staying straight in the tripod, so I was kind of like tinkering it around. So I really hope I didn't make anybody sick or anything when I was doing that. So for some weird reason, it just started like getting a little crooked, so I kind of wanted to make sure it was straight. So my apologies. I should make sure my camera is adjusted before I start filming. Anyway, hi everybody, it's Mena. Welcome back to my channel, or if this is the very first video that you're seeing of me, then welcome to my channel. Please be sure to hit that subscribe button down below if you didn't already. I post Thursday through Sunday. And before I get into my video, I also would like to apologize for being absent for 3 days. If you didn't see my community post, you probably heard me mention this. I just got a new job, so I'm kind of like adjusting like my filming schedule and work and everything. So I have not posted the last 3 days just because I've been working for the last 3 days. So I kind of want to let you guys know my new schedule. So far I'm going to be working Monday through Wednesday, and I'll be posting videos Thursday through Sunday. So that's just my schedule for now. So anyway, today in this video, I have a story time for you guys. And today's story time is going to be the time I was at work with my coworker, and her child was trying to talk to her while she was working with a manual meat slicer, which was not a good thing because she could have hurt herself, and she had to remind her child he shouldn't be talking to her while she's cutting meat. And I was very glad that she was able to make sure that he didn't distract her to the point where she almost could have cut her finger off. So if you have so this is a story just to teach you guys, if you have a kid and you bring them to work and it's a little kid and they're trying to talk to you while you're working with a sharp object, whether it's a knife or a meat slicer or anything that's sharp, you need to remind them they shouldn't be talking to you while you're doing that kind of job, because you don't want to cut your finger off or anything. So it's always important. Or you can bring like something, make sure the child brings something to do while they're at work, while you're at work and stuff. Or if it's a bring your child to work day and you're working, just make sure you remind your child not to talk to you while you're working with something super sharp, because they could distract you and you could probably hurt yourself, or you could even hurt them if they try to tap on you with and you're cutting something with a sharp knife. So please, please, please be careful. So I'm gonna get started, and I hope you guys enjoy the video.
And because I won't be using names for safety purposes, we're going to give my coworker a name and call her Meat Slicing Mom, because she was slicing meat while her kid was trying to talk to her.
So I think this all started maybe I think maybe it was, can you give me 1 second? My apologies. I just had a brain fade. So this all started about 9 years ago. I was still working at my old job. I used to work at a coffee shop. I was a floater for almost 5 years. And I was working at this coffee shop with my coworker, who I'm gonna name Meat Slicing Mom in this video, just because she was slicing meat and she was a mom and she had her kid with her at work. So my coworker's kid, she either brought him to work or she had dropped him off. I can't remember. So she had dropped him off at work and we were working in the kitchen. She was working with the meat slicer. So the meat slicer, we had at that job, we had like a meat slicer where you had to plug in and then you had to kind of like move it with your hand. So that was the meat slicer we have and stuff. So that's the meat slicer we had at that job. I don't know if they still have it there anymore. I don't even work there anymore. Anyway, so my coworker was trying to slice up some meat. Then all of a sudden meat slicing mom's kid, who was probably maybe I think 3 or 4 at the time, comes into the kitchen while we're working. I don't know why he went into the kitchen. I don't know who was watching him, but whoever was watching him should have probably stopped him before he went into the kitchen. And so he's trying to talk to her, and she's cutting meat with the meat slicer, which is not safe because she's trying to pay attention. And I can't stop him because I'm in the middle of doing dishes and I'm washing a bunch of forks, knives, and spoons and stuff. So I don't want to drop something on the floor or cut myself. So I'm trying to get my job done. But my coworker is trying to slice meat. Then all of a sudden she stops slicing the meat. I don't remember what kind of meat she was slicing, but I know she was slicing meat with our meat slicer. And she stops, and then I think she had to call her kid's dad to come and get him because he was not letting her finish her job and she was trying to slice meat. And so she calls and she takes a quick break, talks on her phone, and well, she had asked my manager if she could call somebody really quick before she had to pick her kid up because she needed her kid to get picked up because he was just distracting her a whole bunch. So she was trying to work and stuff. And we were super busy that day. So my coworker stops slicing the meat and calls, I think, her kid's dad to come and get him because she needed him because he almost distracted her while she was cutting meat with the meat slicer. So she's on the phone with them. I'm washing dishes and I'm kind of like watching what they're doing. So after my coworker's done talking to her kid's dad, she talks to her child and tells him that he shouldn't be trying to distract her while she's cutting meat because he could have caused her to cut her finger off or something, which was not safe. And so she had specifically tells the kid, you have to be super duper careful not to talk. Tells the kid that he has to be super careful not to talk to her while she's trying to cut meat because she can't talk to him while she's cutting meat because she needs to pay attention because the meat slicer is super sharp and dangerous. So I thought she did a really good job talking to him, and I was very glad that he didn't distract her from cutting her finger. And I wish I could have done something and stopped him before he came to talk to her because I wish I did something. And I apologize to my coworker, meat slicing mom, for not doing something. And she told me it was fine because I was busy doing dishes and I was trying to get all the dishes in the dishwasher loaded up, and she didn't want me to stop him because she wanted to, because she was there and everything, and I told her okay. So my coworker, I think she ended up calling her kid's dad to come and get him so he so she could work and stuff because he was kind of getting really kind of distracting her, and he almost distracted her from cutting the meat. So the little boy apologized to meat slicing mom, and she was really sweet about it. She had told him that he needs to be, and she had told him that it was okay, and she was very sweet about it and told him he needs to be careful not to distract her while she's cutting meat with the meat slicer because he could have caused her to cut her finger off, and she can't look at him while slicing the meat. So it was just a really good thing, and it was a really great idea because it's better safe than sorry, because the meat slicer we had at that job, you did have to plug it in, and it wasn't like a meat slicer that would do it automatically. It was a meat slicer you had to do manually. So just to clarify that, just so people don't get confused. So when she tells him this, the little boy apologizes to his mom, and she was very sweet about it and told him it's just a better safe than sorry thing. And then I think a couple minutes later, the little boy ended up getting picked up, and my coworker and I ended up continued to work in the kitchen. I still continued to do dishes and bus tables and help my coworker run sandwiches out, and she continued to finish packing up the meat after slicing it. So the moral of the story is when you bring your kids to work and you're working in a kitchen, make sure it's a good idea that they don't enter the kitchen and try to talk to you while you're cutting things, whether you're working with a sharp knife, you're working with a meat slicer. It's just really better safe than sorry, because you don't want to cut yourself and you don't want to accidentally drop the knife near the child. So it's just important to make sure when you bring your kids to work and you're working in a kitchen, it's just better idea to always make sure they bring something to distract themselves, so you can work in the kitchen and they don't enter the kitchen and try to talk to you while you're doing stuff, like if you're working with a knife or if you're working with a meat slicer. So always remind your child that when you take them to work, not to distract you when you're working with sharp objects. So that was the story about how I was at work and I witnessed my coworker's kid almost distract her while she was trying to cut meat with our meat slicer. I hope you guys enjoyed the video. Thank you so much for watching. Please be sure to like and subscribe if you haven't already. I post every day of the week. I post Thursday through Sunday. Sorry, I'm still stuck on that old schedule. Thank you guys so much for watching. Please be sure to like and subscribe if you haven't already. I post Thursday through Sunday, and I'll see you in another video soon. Bye.
If you like this video, then make sure to give it a thumbs up and subscribe.
Oops, I'm sorry.